So, I'm really struck by our theme this month, Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. I'm really struck by how important it is to have that sense of there are people we know and places we can go that make us feel like we are at home. Especially when we are going through things or when we are changing our lives and we're not really quite sure how it's going to show up or how people are going to respond to the changes. I don't know if you've ever had that experience, but I know I have, where I am working to be my authentic self and I am changing and I just feel a little unsteady. But then I call my good friend Kim, and I feel like no matter that I'm different, I'm at home. Or I come to a service in person or online at CSLDallas, and I go, I'm home. I can be who I have come here to be. But what I'm really aware of is that home is that place where I go to get validation. Home is that place where I know for sure someone or 100 people have my back and are willing to let me grow into my next expression. And the line in the song, like, home is a place to rest, a place to know you're not alone. Does this resonate with anybody beside me? I think we all know this. At the same time, I'm very much aware, much of the time, and today especially, that there's a group of people in our city, our country, our world, who don't always have a place that they can call home in the way that we just talked about, in the way that Robin just sang about. We cannot take this idea of home for granted. And so the fact that today, November 20th, every year, is the Transgender Day of Remembrance, I have to honor that. And I'm just inviting you to go along with me on that. Honoring, hoping that you too have this same belief and conviction that we cannot ignore the fact that people are killed just for being their authentic self and being on the journey to finding and expressing their authenticity. Like, it's okay if I do that. I want to be authentic. I can have the life that I want, but I want that for everyone in the world. That is what we teach. There is no individual good, so my good cannot be taken for granted if there are others who don't have that same good. And so Ernest Holmes says the conclusion that God is all there is. How many of you believe that? God is all there is? I see your hands online. The conclusion that God is all there is, then all that is God occupied, God personalized, and God individualized. Almost 400 people who identify as transgender were killed in the year of October last year through September this year. And on the one hand, people might say 390 people out of 8 billion isn't very many. But those are just the ones who have been reported, number one. And number two, one is too many. One is too many. And when you look at the most dangerous or the places that are the most unsafe in the world, the three countries in order are Brazil, USA, and Mexico. So we have our work to do. And we begin that work right now simply by going within and recognizing that of those 390 people who have been reported dead, all but about 60 of them were murdered or were the victims of violence, stabbing, shooting, beating. And many of them, the majority of them, are trans people of color. This is not acceptable. So in Science of Mind, we teach a lot of things, but we teach that we don't ignore or pretend that quote unquote bad things are happening, but that we use that as a call to prayer. We use that as an opportunity to recommit. And so I'm going to invite the practitioners who are in the room to come up and hold consciousness just for a minute, and just for a couple of minutes, and hold this energy. And Jan, if you would, because of the candle, got it. Got it. You're smarter than I am. And I want us to take in, as I light the candle, you can't see the faces of these 400 people, but you can hold their energy, because we know that the soul doesn't die. And right here, right now, this morning, we hold in the deepest love the souls of these 390 people, plus all the ones who were not reported. We hold this consciousness now, knowing that the consciousness of God is our consciousness. Your consciousness, my consciousness. And in this moment, knowing that the consciousness of everyone who has been negatively impacted by the hatred and the violence toward people who are transgender must evaporate, must reduce, must fade away, because it doesn't just mysteriously fade away. It is replaced by this wave of love, this wave of commitment, this wave of belief that all people are created of sacred value. All people are created of sacred value. Repeat it after me. All people are created of sacred value. Yes. And so on this day of remembrance, 2022, we say no more to hatred and violence in this or any other form. And the biggest, deepest commitment of yes to being actively engaged in our personal and collective lives, to eliminating the consciousness that allows this to continue and grow. And if you agree with me that now is the time and we are the people, then I invite you to anchor this by saying together, and so it is. Take a breath. And our practitioners are going to hold this consciousness even as they return to their seats, but holding it with us. Ernest Holmes says, if we want to be free from suffering, you can see it. If we want to be free from suffering, we have to what? Stop inflicting it. If we want to love, we have to love, no matter what anybody thinks of us. If we no longer want to be condemned, we must no longer condemn somebody else. And that's individually, but especially groups of people. Without harm, without hurt, we may liberate ourselves and help to liberate others. This is what we teach. This is what our work is about. And I invite you to be on the journey with me, not just here on Sunday morning, but all throughout the week and the month and the year. This year, we have been really guided by this concept of sacred disruption. Sacred disruption has shown up in a lot of ways in our individual lives and in our community life. And some of us have taken it to our workplaces, our communities, our families, that disruption is sacred. Disruption is good. Who wants to be doing the same thing they were doing 10 years ago or 30 years ago? I know some of you are real comfortable. Some of you are a little bit too comfortable, but hopefully we've been shaking that up a little bit this year. Because this month, as we think about change your thinking, change your life, we say that all the time, but do we really, really, really mean it? Do we really, really take it into consideration? Do we consciously and intentionally change our thinking so that we can have a different outcome and live our lives in a different way? Do you? Let me just stop saying do we. Do you? Don't have to raise your hand, but ask yourself the question, do I really consciously change my thinking, my beliefs, my way of being because it is in service to something I have consciously and intentionally chosen as the new direction, the next direction for my life? And if your answer was, don't ask me, or sometimes it's not horrible, just amp it up a little bit. But what I really hope is, even if you haven't been doing that lately, that you can think of times when you have chosen to change your life intentionally. You wanted something different. You wanted different kinds of relationships, or you wanted to make more money, or you wanted to recover and have full restoration from a disease or emotional or mental turmoil, that at some point in your life, you actually said, I can change, I will change, I'm going after it, and this is what I'm going to do. Anybody relate to me? If you're online and you have ever done that, put yes in the chat, because I want to know when I go look at the chat this afternoon. Like, have you ever done it? And if you have done it at least once in your life and you realize that you have done it, then guess what? You can do it again and again. All you have to do is decide. And poet Laura Sheely actually wrote this poem not knowing that I was going to be talking about this. And when I read her poem, I was like, oh, I have to use this when I'm talking about how we have the ability to change our thinking and change our life. That we start out saying, I'm willing to show up as my true, authentic self, even though I may not know exactly who that is. There have been times in my life where I had a hunch. I had an idea, right? And I just kind of followed it until I was sure. And so the question for me that Laura answers in her poem is, if I'm willing to live a truer life, am I willing to do something different? Am I willing to change my thinking in order to change my life? So I have to share Laura's poem with you. Let's see if I can read it from the slides. I think I can. Because if you are not about this life, if you are not about changing and growing and intending, and you're perfectly fine with kind of comfort and it's gray and drab and that, it's easy, but you're not lighting up the sky, okay, it's fine. Don't complain about it. Because if you complain about it, Tracy and Petra and every practitioner you go to talk to and anybody who's been in this community 10 years or longer, they're going to look at you and say, it's nobody's fault but your own. But instead, if you are ready to have this vibrant light, to have this energy where you are giving off energy, then join Robin and say, yes. Yes, you can do that. You can be it. Because Ernest Holmes reminded us there's a power for good in the universe. It's available to everyone. You can use it. A couple of you in here know what I'm talking about. So here's what Laura said in her poem, Superhuman. It's magnificent that as humans, we have the unique capacity to completely reinvent ourselves in the middle of our lives. Imagine for a moment a hippopotamus in his big mouth glory exclaiming, "Water's no longer my thing. I think I'll grow wings and learn to fly, to live a weightless life." Well, no, I don't believe that could be. But by George, a trash man can earn his pilot's license, and boom, the trucks are history. It's magnificent that there are no rules in stone to claim you must stay exactly who you are right now. Even characters of the Bible changed their name. Julia Childs learned to cook when she was 40. Harry Potter was born from someone's midlife crisis. All this to say, your heart might always beat the same. Birthmarks and genetics may hold their place, but you can live a life that's truer. The timid can become the teacher. The judge can become a humble servant. You can do this because you're human. Laura Sheely. What we teach and what all of you know is that we are the human expression of the divine idea. We are the human manifestation of what is set into motion, and we can do that with our own lives. So this month, that's your biggest thing to be thinking about. What am I ready to change? And you don't have to spend all of your time trying to find yourself. Spend your time creating yourself, choosing where you want to go. And if that doesn't work, make a different choice. Make a different choice and create the person that you know you have come here to be or that you will be proud of. And that is what Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life is all about. So I do ask you, what do you need to change in order to live your truest life? Your life that is going to make you so excited to wake up every day and to know that you are offering something fabulous to the world. What is it that you need to change in order to love yourself more and show up in that way? What is it that you need to change in order maybe to love others? Maybe you've learned here at CSLDallas to love yourself fabulously well, but you've got some work to do with loving others. Or maybe, for whatever reason, Transgender Day of Remembrance or anything else, you want to work on and expand your capability to love all of creation. Because basically, living a truer life just boils down to love. Love is what we're here for. And maybe I could get Robin Hackett to anchor that in for us before I make some closing comments. Thank you.
This is my life's mantra. We are all just mirrors. In your faces I see clearer, clearer than I've ever seen before. Yes. The heart is where to live from, to give all you can give from. This is what I truly know for sure. What we're here for, to give and give more, oh love. And love is what we're here for, to give and give more. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love. Oh, oh, yeah. I said love, 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 love. I'm tired of all this anger and my own unkind behavior. Who am I to judge anyone at all? 'Cause if I look into you, I can see the pain you've been through. And I know 'cause I've felt the same way too. And love is what we're here for, to give and give more, oh love. And love is what we're here for, to give and give more. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I am an instrument of my peace. I am an instrument of my love. I said love, I said love, sweet love. And I am an instrument of my peace. I am an instrument of my love. I said love, oh sweet love, oh sweet love. Here we go. And I am an instrument of my peace. I am an instrument of my love. I said love, 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 I am an instrument of my love. I said love, 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 oh love. And love is what we're here for. To give and give more, more. Love, love, love. And love is what we're here for. To give and give more. Love, 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 love. Love. Oh. I said love, 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 love. Sing with me, please. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love. I can't hear you. And love, 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 love. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love. One more time. Love, 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 love. Oh love, oh love.
Robin Hackett and the amazing CSLDallas House Band. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So there are only really three things that you need to do. One, love yourself. It's hard to love others if you are not loving yourself. Learn to love yourself and trust yourself. Trust that God as you knows what to do. That Spirit is operating in, as, and through you to make your life better and to make the world better as well. So if you want to live a truer life, as you are changing your thinking, love yourself. Number two, love others. It's the primary commandment, not only from the Bible or the way teacher, way shower, Jesus. It is also true in 13 other primary major spiritual paths that one of the number one things is love others as God loves them. Love yourself, love others, and love all creation. If you do these things, you will be living a truer life, and work on one of them at a time. We remind you often, you can't do 8 things at once. So work on the one that is calling you the most. Now, I'm anticipating as you're doing those 3 things that some of you are like, who is that Laura Sheely person? I've never heard of her, and I've never read a poem by her, and I want that poem. So I do, before I completely close, want to share with you that many of you heard me in August quote poetry by Shalane Harkin. And Laura Sheely is one of 13 poets in this new book, Bouquet of Stars. And it is Shalane Harkin and 12 other poets. And the first half are more Shalane Harkin poems for those of you who became fans in August. And Laura Sheely's poem, Superhuman, is on page 153. Now, you cannot, well, actually, you can order the book today. You can order the book at Bouquet of Stars, or you can order the book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or any of the websites. But it doesn't actually get released till November 29th. So you, right here at CSL Dallas, you got a preview of the poetry that's in this book. And I'm going to close with a poem from another poet included in this book. Her name is Tracy Brown. And when I think of living a truer life, I think that it is simply me moving toward good. And that is the title of this poem. What if I focused on today and left yesterday's hurts and heights behind? What if I accepted the past as complete and entered every conversation as new? What if I believed I am one with spirit and saw today's experiences as answered prayer? What if I saw the gift I am receiving and accepted it without guilt or shame? I am ready to soar without dragging the weight of yesterday's choices or challenges. I am ready to sing without knowing the words, but trusting the melody will suffice. I am ready to forgive myself and others and look through the lens of love. I am ready to trust. There is a power bigger than me moving my life toward good.